What's up guys, Lvladen here, and today I'm coming at you with a video on the Dragonflight Alpha. That's right, we got Alpha on the day that Paladin released. Fantastic, I'm so excited to be here and participate in the testing of Dragonflight. So I just ended stream, and we streamed Dragonflight PvP for about 4 hours. We did duels, bunches of duels against Feral Druids, Guardian, the Voker, Death Knights, mainly whatever Arrow was playing at the moment because he's my only friend on the Alpha. And let me tell you, Ret feels pretty good. All right, pretty good. Now, there's so many different viable builds that you can run, and obviously things are going to change. I have criticisms of the talent trees, but at the same time, I think for a first take, these talents are fairly good. They're much better than when Hunter started, and they're much better than Mage talents, in my opinion. So let's get right into it. All right, so the first thing I'll be going over is the talents. And at the moment, the level cap on the Dragonflight Alpha is 62, and I have not leveled there yet, so I'm 60 at the moment. So I'm going to be going over the talent calculator on the Wowhead website, as it has the talent scaled for level 70. So let's go over the Paladin talent tree first. We have Lay on Hands, Freedom, and Hammer of Wrath to choose from. Hammer of Wrath is default, so you're automatically picking from the right side of the tree onwards. What I like to do is I start with Freedom. I get Consecration and Devotion aura, then you get Ret and Crusader aura, default as well. I pick up Fist of Justice here, so Fist is in the game. Divine Steed, and get this, we get either Repentance or Blinding Light. Now this is absolutely huge. That means Ret has 2 CCs once again. Very exciting, because previously you could only really take Fist of Justice. You never could opt in for Blinding, or in very niche situations you could opt in for Blinding, and almost never Repentance. Alright, I just disabled the camera real quick. So the next row of talents we have here is Holy Aegis, Cavalier, Seasoned Warhorse, and Seal of Alacrity. Now these are mostly returning things. So Seasoned Warhorse to increase the duration of Divine Steed. That's cool. Cavalier, you get 2 charges of Divine Steed. Divine Steed is now a 1-minute recharge. And Holy Aegis at the moment is broken on beta. It only ever stacks up to 2%, but you can put 2 points in there. I imagine it's going to stack to 4% before, or you can just leave it as is. In order to progress the row, I typically take Seal of Alacrity, I take Cavalier, and it moves me on to the next row. So here, Rebuke is now open to all Paladin specs, and the only one that didn't have it previously was Holy. So that's really cool that Holy Paladin is going to get a melee ranged kick back into the toolkit. H-Pals did have this once upon a time, but it was removed. So we're going to go ahead and put a point into Rebuke. That's cool. Turn Evil has a cast time. Reduced by Haste. It's probably not going to be in your default tree at the moment because, situational. You can use it against Shadow Priest. You can use it against Warlock. You can use it against Unholy Death Knights. But you're most likely not going to be casting it too often. So you can actually leave it out of your toolkit. Next, we're going to be picking up Avenging Wrath along with Seal of Reprisal. This is just baseline wings. Unfortunately, there's no more 20% crit in the baseline wings. We'll have to pick that up somewhere else. And Seal of Reprisal, which is actually really strong for a 2-point talent, increasing the damage of your Templar's Verdict by 20%, or basically all your Holy Power spenders. But in PvP, it's going to be mainly the Templar's Verdict or Final Verdict that it increases. So that's cool. You get the 1 Holy Power on Judgment, and the 25% increase Holy Power Spender from the Judgment as well, which is currently on the baseline Judgment from retail. Then you get Blessing of Protection, and Divine Purpose here. Holy Avenger is still a 3-minute cooldown, so I doubt we'll be taking that too often. Might leave some feedback saying that, we need some better choices here. Holy Avenger either needs to come down and cooldown, or just needs to straight up be removed and replaced with something else. Otherwise, we're never going to run it. After that, we have Seal of, not Seal, we just have Abduracy, which is Speed and Avoidance. Now, I'm not entirely sure that 2% speed is worth taking overall, but we may take this when we're doing 1v1s, and when we're not doing 1v1s, we can put our utility spells into, or our talent points into utility spells, such as Blessing of Sacrifice, and what I think is going to be really overpowered, Recompense right here. So what this does is the damage that is absorbed by sacrifice and transfers to you increases the damage of your next judgment or the healing of your next word of glory by 50% of the total damage it absorbs. So in theory, if you sacrifice someone that's getting combusted on or danced on or A-bomb limbed on, you are going to omega damage someone with a judgment following the blessing of sacrifice, or you're going to heal them back to full with the word of glory. So this is a neat team utility cooldown that I think will definitely have its place in arena, and maybe even in solo gameplay as well, in BGs and stuff like that. But in duels, you can actually forego blessing of sacrifice completely. So next up in the talent tree, we actually have a few choices of our next talent point. We can go for the 2% speed. We can go for the 3-yard range on Crusader Aura with Seal of the Templar, which actually is pretty interesting talent when I was testing it out in duels. Or you could add a second to your Divine Steed charge. So this is kind of up to you. I'm probably going to grab the speed and the 1 second on the horse here, and that unlocks the next talent row. This row, we're going to pick up 60 seconds off of Avenging Wrath, pretty baseline here. And here's where it gets really cool. In my top 3 wish list for talents that I hope to see for Ret and Dragonflight, Blessing of Spell Warding was one of them. And here it is, guys. We get Blessing of Spell Warding for Retribution Paladin. We are no longer completely helpless against caster cleaves, which is really nice to see. And also in-game, this does share a cooldown with Blessing of Protection, but it does not entirely replace it. I know it says replaces on the tooltip, so we're going to have to see what happens between alpha and beta and release. But at the moment, if you talent into spell warding, you have access to both. They just have a split cooldown, which is kind of interesting. We'll see how it progresses with there. After that, we have Seal of Might. So during Avenging Wrath, your mastery is increased by 4%, stacking up to 12. This is not yet implemented on the beta, or on the alpha, so I can't really test it out. So I'm not currently putting my talent points in there. And then we have reduced cooldown on Divine Shield. Shield of Vengeance for Retribution and Lay on Hands and Divine Protection. These are all pretty standard stuff. So we're going to go ahead and pop a talent point in there. After that, we have Sanctified Wrath. Now, Sanctified Wrath or Seraphim, I'm going to be running Sanctified Wrath, at least for the moment. So Sanctified Wrath got changed. It no longer deals splash damage, but it does generate an additional holy power on Judgment and causes your wings to last 25% longer. Now, after we pick up Sanctified Wrath, here's where it gets interesting. We have a lot of choices on different types of builds that we can follow through with on just the Paladin talent tree here. So what I thought would be the best place to go would be down for Mad Paragon, especially if I'm going to be targeting Final Verdict later in the Retribution tree. So what I'm going to take here is Touch of Light. Now, we have 2 options here, Touch of Light and Incandescence. Incandescence is really not that great because it's related to Consecration, and in PvP you're going to be wanting to avoid all Consecration-related talents. And I will verify this. I tested it a lot today. I tried to make a meme build about buffing Consecration as much as I could, and it's just very, very undertuned at the moment. And even if it did do big damage, it's likely that we're not going to be running it in PvP anyways, because people can simply just walk out of the Consecration. So we're going to be taking Touch of Light. Now this is just going to give us a tiny bit of extra damage, similar to how the passive of Reckoning, just a little bit of extra damage whenever it procs. Followed by Seal of the Crusader. We're going to take 3 in Seal of the Crusader, which gives us a minor debuff on the target, causing them to take 15% increased holy damage for 5 seconds. Really cool, decent damage chunk. And we're going to top it off with the Mad Paragon. Now, the Mad Paragon increases Hammer of Wrath and Judgment damage by 10% and extends Avenging Wrath by 0.5 seconds. So this, coupled with Sanctified Wrath, really cool. We'll be able to extend wings for, a decent chunk. Maybe we'll get about a 30 to 35 second wings, depending on how many procs we get. That seems pretty cool. After that, we have a handful of spots that we can bring the talents around and take a look and see what we have left here. So, starting in the upper left-hand corner, we could get some crit and armor, followed by Judgment of Light, Golden Path, or Seal of Mercy. Now, Golden Path, as it stands, is fairly weak. Anything related to Consecration is undertuned at the moment for Ret, and probably will not be taken in PvP. It is worth noting that you can make several Paladin pages to go over, different scenarios, what you'd like to take. Because you could pick up Turn Evil, you could pick up Cleanse Toxins, or you could just focus on doing a bunch of damage. And that's kind of what I want to do with my Paladin at the moment, unless I'm dueling like an Assassination Rogue, an Unholy DK, something along the lines of that, maybe Shadow Priest. I'm going to go with After Image, which is also not yet implemented, and finish off my build with some talents into Aspiration, which gives Crusader Strike purpose, increasing your primary stat by 28. At the moment, as it stands, this does not stack the more points you put into it on the alpha, so maybe it's broken, or maybe it's only meant to have one talent point. But Crusader Strike does increase your primary stat by 28 for 6 seconds, which is really cool. It gives more meaning to pressing Crusader Strike. Now, you could give a small chance to proc Word of Glory. At the moment, Seal of Clarity is also not working on Alpha, so I wasn't able to test this. So maybe this is cool. You can get Dusk of Dawn. It's okay. Nothing too significant. In order to make it more significant, your In Dawn, or at least your In Dawn portion of it, you'd have to go all the way to the bottom here, which I don't think is as good as Sanctified Wrath or the Mad Paragon. It is worth noting, I will test this. I did test this a little bit today, but because Seal of Clarity is broken and Aspirations of Divinity are broken, it's not too reliable to test this side of the tree quite yet. All right, so this is what my final iteration of just the Paladin tree would look like, for the most part, for Retribution at least. Now, if I was to take some utility out, I would remove Divinity and After Image to go for something like, I don't know. Take this to go for Turn Evil. And if I really wanted to go for Cleanse Toxins here, if I thought it was going to be very important, let's see what I would need to sacrifice. So we need 2 Holy Ages. Now, we'd have to take away from something on the bottom. It would have to be between Sanctified Wrath and Mad Paragon. I'd probably drop Sanctified Wrath first, I believe, and go for Judgment of Light, and then maybe either Unbreakable Spirit or Spell Warding. Depends on what we get. And by get, I mean, is it going to be a short match? Is it going to be a long match? If it's a longer match, you might be better off dropping Mad Paragon and removing from Seal of the Crusader in order to get down there. So drop into Cleanse Toxins, and then take one out of Seal of the Crusader and get Sanctified Wrath. You have a few different options that you can go. But, you're going to have to lose one of these in order to pick up some of the utility, which is a little bit unfortunate here. Even if you wanted to turn evil as well. So say, for example, you're playing an Unholy Death Knight. Maybe pop one out of Seal of the Crusader back into Turn Evil. But yeah, we have options, guys. We have options. Plenty to mess around with. And, there's going to be many, many builds, many different testing, theory crafts. Like, I love this type of stuff. This is the stuff that I play WoW for. I'm very excited to be able to participate in the alpha and get to check out these builds. All right, now we're going to be checking out the Retribution side of the tree, guys. This is what we've all been waiting for. So, yeah, let's take a look and see what we can get done here. So, we're going to start off with Blade of Justice. Pick up Divine Storm, Art of War. I'm going to grab, let's see here. Timely Judgment, reduce the cooldown on your judgment, so baseline 11 seconds. That's not bad. Pick up 2 charges of Crusader Strike. I'm going to pick up Holy Blade. I'm going to go down here for Expurgation. These are all very similar to BFA, so we're now going to get a burn off of our Blade of Wrath. That's pretty cool. I'm going to pick up, let's see here, Shield Avenge, Judgment Damage, Expurgation, into Blade of Wrath here. I keep calling it Blade of Wrath, but that's because in Legion it was called Blade of Wrath, and there was like a talent that made it, do stuff. But you guys get what I'm talking about if you played Legion. So, Art of War resets the cooldown of Blade of Justice 100% more often. This is definitely important for talents that we pick up later on. Back onto the middle part of the tree, we pick up Wake of Ashes, pretty mandatory. Now, here's where some of the new stuff comes in. We have 2 choices here. We have Ashes to Dust, which is similar to our 4-piece set bonus on retail. And then we also have Path of Ruin. Now, Path of Ruin, I'll have a whole future video on this, but Path of Ruin is actually a Holy Power spender. So it costs 3 Holy Power to use. And it's currently broken on the beta because it does not increase, it's not affected by your Judgment or Final Reckoning at the moment. So it hits really hard by itself, but because it is run off of probably the code based on Wake of Ashes, it's not being affected by things that it should be affected by, and it's also not functioning with Truce Wake. So we're going to hold off on the testing of Path of Ruin for a little bit. But more or less, guys, it turns your Wake of Ashes into Holy Power Spender rather than Generator and puts a very short cooldown on it of 15 seconds. So interesting ability for the future. Up here we have Zeal or Boundless Judgment. Now, I haven't tested Judgment or Boundless Judgment quite yet, and I'm not currently running Zeal in my final build. So we're going to go ahead and ignore this one for now. Now I'm going to go ahead and pick up Execution Sentence here. Execution Sentence is back. From what I can tell, it's still nerfed in PvP. It does absolutely insane damage in PvE. But for the moment, I did play it with Executioner as well. Now, this is something new. Your Templar's Verdict extends the duration of your Execution Sentence up to double its initial time, which makes it more flexible in PvP, because in case you get CC'd on it, you can still get some damaging spells into your Execution Sentence. So it's not bad. It's an interesting talent. I'm just having trouble finding a place to pick it up. So we're going to go ahead and ignore it for now. Now here, I'm going to pick up Healing Hands or Selfless Healer. Either one. Depends on if Healing Hands is nerfed or not in PvP. Again, at the moment, I think it is, but I was just running it on Alpha because, you know, why not? I don't have my weak aura tracking Selfless Healer, so it's a little weird looking at the debuffs. So we're going to go ahead and grab this right here. Now after Selfless Healer, we have quite a few options to go into. Particularly, look at this, guys. Exorcism is back. Now, Exorcism doesn't currently fit into the build that I'm playing on the Alpha because it is not quite worth pushing at the moment. It might be in the future, but at the moment, the damage is just underwhelming and it doesn't generate holy power. I hope to see some future iterations on Exorcism, and I will leave feedback on the forums and wherever I can to get this changed, because I am personally a really big fan of Exorcism returning. It just doesn't quite fit into the rotation at the moment because we are almost GCD locked just with the baseline ret rotation plus utility spells, and the fact that it doesn't really contribute in a meaningful way. Maybe we can get something like every 3 Blade of Justices, your Blade of Justice turns into Exorcism and deals, a massive amount of holy damage. There's quite a few different ways that they could go about making Exorcism return to the game. I just think that this one is a little awkward, but I will definitely get some videos out on Exorcism in particular, and we'll talk about it in the future. So, after Healing Hands, we're going to go ahead and pick up Righteous Verdict right here. Righteous Verdict increases the damage of your next Templar's Verdict by 15%. Solid talent. We have Calm Before the Storm, increasing your Consecration damage after your Divine Storm. Probably not going to be something that we're going to be running in PvP too often, if ever. So I'm going to go ahead and bail on that one. After that, we have Consecrated Ground. Consecration Slowing. That's kind of cool. Probably not going to take it because the only way to get to that path is Calm Before the Storm. So that would be almost 2 near wasted talent points. I don't think I'm going to rock these 2 talents in PvP. Followed by that, we have Inner Power. Now, I'm not a huge fan of either of the talents chosen here, but we do need to get this to get Long Arm of the Law. Now, Long Arm of the Law is back. I'm a huge fan of Long Arm of the Law, but it is a little underwhelming at the moment. 20% move speed for 2 seconds. Maybe if we get 40% for 3 seconds, it'd be much better. Again, I will leave feedback there to show that, this does need a little bit of love. 20%, very, very low. However, I do typically still take this in my duels that I was doing on the Alpha today. It was fun to have a little bit more movement speed. So just for the sake of it being back, we're going to go ahead and talent into it. So I'm going to grab Inner Power and Long Arm of the Law. And then lastly here, we actually don't need Hand of Hindrance. Now, Hand of Hindrance, it's slow, it's nice, but we can take Law and Order without Hand of Hindrance. They do function separate of each other. So our Blade of Justice could just function as our slow with Law and Order if we really needed it to. If not, then, you can either choose to talent into Hand of Hindrance or Executioner's Will. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to go ahead and go Executioner's Will for now. And I missed something up here because I wasn't able to get Hand of Hindrance before. Oh yes, the 2% haste right here. So you can either go between Hand of Hindrance or 2% haste, or 5% crit on your Blade of Justice. So it's really between these three talents, guys. For the sake of it, let's just take Hand of Hindrance, and yeah, I'll briefly go over these. So Last Rites, every third judgment has 15% increased crit chance, and does a tiny bit more damage. Not very worth, in my opinion. Same with Fires of Justice and Empyrean Power. These are from the current ret trees. Not very worth. Consecrated Blade, your Art of War causes a consecration on the ground. This is actually separate than your baseline consecration, so I'm probably still not going to take it because it doesn't deal nearly enough damage. And what else do we have here? We have Eye for an Eye, Jurisdiction, Justicar's Vengeance. Oh man, Justicar's Vengeance. I really thought it was going to be gone, but it's still here. Again, probably not going to make it down to this side of the tree, even for Eye for an Eye. So I'm going to go ahead and toss my my points into the Swift Crusader right here and Condemning Blade. And that's going to bring us down into what we need down here. We're going to go ahead and pick up Relentless Inquisitor, Vanguard's Momentum, and Final Verdict. It made it into the game. I'm so happy Final Verdict is here. We have, we have the return of our favorite Shadowlands Legendary and one of my favorite Warlords of Draenor spells, so I'm glad it's back. We have the Conduits, Virtuous Command, and Templars of Vindication right here. Both returning to a lesser extent from their 278 item level Conduit forms. They are okay. Not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and pick up Avenging Wrath Might. Now, just from reading the tooltip here, it looks like it may double dip into the Avenging Wrath, meaning increasing your damage by 40%. However, it does not. It only increases your crit chance by 20%, which more or less is what Baseline Wings already does on retail. But that crit chance is very, very valuable, and I'm not entirely sure that I want to opt out of it or not because, it's 20% crit on wings. That's great, and it also functions with Aura Reckoning, and we're going to be extending our wings for a long time with Sanctified Wrath and Mad Paragon, so yeah, I think it's worth picking up in the long run. After Avenging Wrath Might, oh yeah, by the way, there's Crusade here. I don't think Crusade is going to, be taken for the most part, and then we have Legion's Fury returning. So one Holy Power every 5 seconds, probably not worth taking. So I'm going to stick with Avenging Wrath Might, and then we're going to come over here, grab Virtuous Command, and then Ashes to Ashes right here. So guys, this is likely going to be my final Paladin build. Virtuous Command functions almost the exact same way it does on retail, with Judgment increasing the damage when you're close by with Templar's Verdict. That's great. And then we get our current 2-piece set bonus, which I think is very strong. So I'm very happy that Ashes to Ashes is remaining in the game. Actually, I did miss out on one talent here. So let me see. Let me go back. What did I take? So I need to get rid of. There's one of these talents. Yeah. So you can actually choose between either the Blade of Wrath or Blade of Justice crit, or the haste. I'm gonna go with the haste because for my testing, Expurgation really does not do too much damage. So we're gonna go ahead and take Ashes to Dust, which is our current 4-piece set bonus. So there it is, Ashes to Dust. I'm gonna grab Virtuous Command and gonna grab Ashes to Ashes. And wait, did we miss something else here? Yeah, we did. Something else. Okay, there we go. What else did we accidentally pull out of here? We definitely pulled out of something because I was not able to get all these talents earlier. Oh yeah, here it is. Vending Wrath Might. There we go. Last talent point. So depending on if we think the crit is really useful or not, we can grab maybe Divine Toll, maybe Final Reckoning. If we don't think the crit is too useful, which who knows, maybe we build crit and forgo this talent and take Final Reckoning. That'd be pretty neat. There are so many different builds that we can theory craft, but guys, this is basically my starter build. I pretty much forego all the consecration related talents, so Hallowed Ground, Golden Path, and its extra stuff. Consecrated Blade, the Calm Before the Storm, Consecrated Ground, we ignore those. We pick up Long Arm of the Law, which I'm hoping will be buffed because it's a little underwhelming. If you wanted to get rid of Long Arm of the Law, you can always go for Exorcism instead, which is pretty neat. You know, it gives us a dot. It just doesn't do quite enough damage, so I'm hoping these two talents get some love. And then we ignore Jessica's Vengeance and Eye for 9, pretty much most of this side of the tree. But yeah, guys, I am super excited over these Paladin talents. You know, send me your builds. Leave your builds in the comments of the video, and I will check them out on beta. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next. I will be checking out Evoker. I'll be doing tons of Paladin testing on my Twitch. I'm going to have duels posted soon. There's going to be so much content, guys. I'm super excited. And yeah, I hope you guys get Alpha too. All right, peace. One more quick thing I forgot to add. The reason I did not take Divine Toll in this build is because, one, you no longer gain the benefit of the Pelagos Mastery from casting Divine Toll. And two, Divine Toll only increases the damage of your Judgment by 100%. It no longer has Ringing Clarity attached to it, and the Divine Resonance is not super fantastic, kind of like how it is on retail at the moment. But I will be going back to this and testing it in future builds, but just wanted to explain my reasoning of why I'm not taking Divine Toll. It is not nearly as good as it is on retail at the moment. All right. Peace.